Alright, folks, so yesterday, Wizards of the Coast, that's Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes Dungeons and Dragon, Magic the Gathering, they are a subsidiary, subdivision, whatever, of Hasbro. So they banned a couple cards. Now, usually when cards are banned in a trading card game, it's usually because they're really broken or they enable some kind of a degenerate strategy or they restrict people's deck building options because, oh, hey, this is the best card, so you're just losing out if you're not building your whole strategy around this card or any of the combinations that work best with it. But this time today they're banning cards for a bit of a different reason. So I'm going to give you guys a read here. It says today we will be changing the multiverse ID. That's the labeling they use in their card database to identify everything. And removing the gatherer card image for the card Invoke Prejudice. I'll put this up as it's going. Originally printed in 1994, the card is racist and made even worse by the multiverse ID it was unfortunately codified with years ago. They're not going to say it, but its ID was 1488, which is pretty ironic. There's no place for racism in our game, nor anywhere else, which is interesting because this game kind of has some Goblin Slayer esque stuff where people want to kill the orcs or the minotaurs or whatever. It's a fantasy game for those of you who don't play or care about Magic. Like there's one set back when I was quitting the game called Innistrad. It's like kind of a blood. It's kind of like Bloodborne basically. There's like humans and they fight werewolves and vampires and ghosts and stuff. So there's kind of a lot of enmity between these different races. Like humans and vampires just absolutely hate each other. And there's a lot of cards like Defang or whatever depicting vampires being viciously abused by humans, and like it adds to the lore of the story or whatever. But I'm going to continue with this. But to that point, it should have never been published nor placed in the Gatherer. That's their card database. That's what it's called. And for that, we are sorry. So sorry. The events of the past weeks and the ongoing conversation about how we can better support people of color. I always laugh when they call them that. It just seems weird. Have caused us to examine ourselves, our actions, and our inactions. We appreciate everyone helping us to recognize when we fall short. We should have been better. We can be better, and we will be better. Man, it feels like a really weird corruption of Romans 3:23. For all have come short of the glory of God. To that end, we'll be removing a number of images from our database that are racist or culturally offensive, including Invoke Prejudice, Cleanse, Stone Throwing Devils, Pradash Gypsies, Jihad, Imprison, and Crusade. Uh, yeah, so I'll put these all up. Don't worry about that. I don't understand most of these. Stone throwing devils, I heard people saying this was because it was offensive to Muslims, but stoning is also in the Old Testament of the Bible. It's in like the book of Leviticus, Deuteronomy. It's even in the New Testament. There's a part where the Pharisees are going to stone a woman for adultery, and then that's when Jesus gives the famous quote, if ye are without sin, then cast the first stone, right? So that isn't specifically referring to Muslims. In fact, that you would more say that's just blanket Abrahamism or whatever it's called. Jihad, crusade, don't they literally just mean the same thing? Like that's just their word for war. Um, Crusades weren't even racist. It was about territory. They were fighting over Constantinople or whatever. They're trying to fight back against the Ottoman Empire. I'm not a real big history guy, but I'm pretty sure it was one of those Arab dynasties or whatever. So anyway, they're going to replace these card images with the following statement. We have removed this card image from our database due to its racist depiction, text, or combination thereof. Racism in any form is unacceptable and has no place in our games, nor anywhere else. Additionally, these cards will be banned in all sanctioned tournament play. That's interesting because most of these cards aren't really competitively viable. Crusade has had a lot of retrains that are just better. Um, Invoke Prejudice is still actually a very strong card, but it's really rare, and I don't even know if it was already banned or not. A lot of these really super old cards are in a weird place where most of them are just banned because they're not even broken, but because they have really awkward and unintuitive interactions with modern cards. So for the sake of making rules management more easy and convenient, they just blanket ban a lot of these old cards. But anyway, there's much more work to be done as we continue to make our games, communities, and company more inclusive. Know that we work every day to be better and that we hear you. We look forward to sharing more of our plans with you as our games and organizations evolve. So this is, I reckon, about 7 cards. Don't think this is going to be the last of it. I'm pretty sure they're going to ban more as time continues. They're just testing the water with a lot of outdated cards like Crusade. There's another card that does the same thing. Crusade buffs all your white creatures +1 to all their stats, but it's a complete field buff, so your opponent, if they have cards that are white, they also get buffed. There have been retrains, which are re-releases of this card with better abilities where it only buffs your white creatures and not just everything on the game field. So, you could make an argument and say, Crusade isn't really that played compared to its newer, more improved variants. And, there's Wrath of God, which Cleanse kills all black cards, but Wrath of God just kills everything. And, obviously this is the logic they're going for as well, where they want to say, oh, well, these cards, nobody played these anyways, so you're not going to miss them. But rest assured, I'm pretty sure they're going to start banning cards that are actually competitively viable. There are a lot of goblins that look pretty, Josh. They will probably ban those too. I think they're going to ban a lot more cards. This is just the first wave. This is just their test. I'm going to real quick hop over here. So I typed in Crusade. Search. We get all these cards, and then what's this? Oh, all right. I don't even get to see what it does. At least the text here is still existent. You can still see what the card ability does. It says white creatures get +1/+1. Yeah, so that ability is not limited to your side of the field. It applies to all players, which that's why it's kind of not the best card ever, and that's why they'll make an argument for saying, oh, you wouldn't miss it anyway. But look at all these other cards that have Crusader and Crusade in their name that they're not being banned. Well, look at this. I don't know if I can even put this up on the screen, but Tivadar's Crusade. This is racist. They got a disemboweled goblin? Wow, that's messed up, dude. I can't believe they allowed this in this game. I know a lot of people have been saying, like, for an op to just start suggesting actual like competitive staples to get banned. I don't even know if that would be enough to kill Magic, because Wizards of the Coast, they have been shooting themselves in the dick over this game for quite a while. And even in spite of all that, Magic has gotten to a point where it's simply too big to fail. They've been making bonehead moves since, man, I can't even say. I dropped out of the game around what was it, Cons of Tarkir. I got my fetch lands and basically bounced out of there. That set was awful. It had really crappy lore and story. Maybe just because I hate dragons. I don't know. I thought it was dumb. And every set afterwards has been equally as awful. They've managed to ramp up the crappiness and make the game even worse. And guess what? It's still selling gangbusters. It's one of Hasbro's biggest money-making biggest money-making machines. I don't think I don't know what it would take to kill Magic. I don't even think if they changed one of the fundamental rules of the game, like, oh, now you draw 2 cards every turn, or you get a free mana coin like Hearthstone or whatever. I have no idea what it would take for this game to finally die. I don't play Magic anymore. I don't even collect the cards. I've moved on to other games like Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, for crying out loud, folks, I've even been getting into Duel Masters, which is just a dead in the dirt card game. I don't know anyone who plays it anymore, but I just like collecting them because they have really sick art and we don't have any of this crap. It's still going on in Japan, which is pretty awesome, but you know, that's enough of that. But yeah, I don't think this is the end of. I don't think this is the last we're gonna hear this. This isn't the end of this at all. They're gonna go harder with this. They're gonna start, getting rid of more cards and just totally screwing up the game. And there's gonna be people who are gonna be on board with it. I think pretty sure right now people are okay with this because you can make arguments that most of these cards aren't even competitive. But I'm just gonna say wait for the actual competitive staples to get banned because I'm pretty sure Goblin decks are gonna take a hit. A lot of white decks, so white and red are probably just going to get completely, have their balls busted by this rollout. I don't think, I don't, if you're playing Magic still, I'd recommend just quitting if you already haven't. Sell all your crap, just get out and play it. Do something else with your time, man. Go to church, play a sport, read a book, read the Bible, go for a walk. I think I'm going to go for a walk today, actually, because the weather is just beautiful. Anyway, yeah, actually, screw this. I'm going outside.